It's actually true that you aren't really rich according to how many things you control, but rather according to how many things control you. Hello, good people of the internet. Today morning, I was reading this beautiful book, Gitanjali by Rabindranath Tagore. This book is more than 100 years old, not this copy, but the original poems were written way back in 1911. I am reading an English translation of those poems, of course. And today morning, I came across a poem which I think is absolutely relevant to our modern age. Let's hear him out. He says, "The child who is decked with princess robes and who has jeweled chains round his neck loses all pleasure in his play. His dress hampers him at every step. In fear that it may be frayed or stained with dust, he keeps himself from the world and is afraid even to move." Now, one way of looking at this poem is the literal way. Children by nature are quite free and they don't really care if their clothes get soiled or if they are muddied or whatever. But of course, parents do. And also, parents would naturally want their kids to look good, to dress good, etc. But what if, in the wake of dressing them up good, they dress them up so well and their clothes bound them so much that they take away the freedom of the child to even play? Now, that is a side effect that even parents would not want. But this can happen. Your good clothes can actually bind you up so much that you do not even play. And now also consider the deeper symbolism here. There are so many things we engage in throughout our lives which could be a means to an end. We would think that we are doing them to have more time, to have more peace, to have more freedom, to have more luxury, maybe, to have more pleasure for ourselves, etc. But so often, these things end up overwhelming us so much that we end up becoming slaves to them. The things that were actually a means to an end up becoming an end in themselves. And quite often, it may so happen that the thing overrides the actual thing to which it was a means. For example, we work so we can eat, but then work consumes us so much, work becomes such a priority that taking a lunch break looks like a waste of time. The means to an end has become an end in itself. And in that sense, we are so much like those kids that Tagore was talking about, isn't it? In the wake of looking good, feeling good, etc., we end up taking up these things over our lives, which could be buying a new home, buying a new car, maybe success in the corporate ladder, maybe more money, more pleasure, more luxury. That could take various different manifestations, even a better vacation for that matter. But all of these things consume us so much that we end up feeling bounded. We end up feeling like we are not really free to do what we want. While actually, if you think about it, we started to engage in all of these activities to actually do what we want to do. Now, this is such a tricky situation to be in, isn't it? I think this is one question that we should all ask ourselves. If we are actually free, if we were really free to do anything that we want, would we be doing what we are doing right now? And if you're really honest with yourself and the answer comes out to be no, I think you should start to invest some of your time to rearrange your life in a manner that you can act like a free person and not a bounded person. Because eventually, this life is meant to be free in. You cannot be going through your entire life feeling like a bounded person, feeling like you cannot really do what you actually want to do. And now there's a catch in this too. What if you come back and say, I do not really know what I want to do? Well, then that is your cue. You should be focusing on getting to understand what it is that you want to do. In episode 1, season 2 of my podcast, I actually shared a lot of different meditations, a lot of different questions that you can ask yourself to actually figure out what is the purpose of life and specifically what is the purpose of your life. Spend some time and actually do that, because if instead of doing that you keep engaging yourself in your current life situation, you keep binding yourself up with more emis, with more cars, with more destination happinesses, this will always keep on happening. You will always keep happening more and more chains around you. I remember this was Sadhguru's discussion, maybe somewhere in some college. He was talking to a panel and he was asked about Christianity. And I think I vaguely remember, but his idea is quite relevant to what I'm talking about here. He said that Christians believe, I think Christians believe that at some point it will be Jesus Christ who comes back on earth and then leads them to freedom. He says that we have pushed our bar towards feeling free so high that even if this would happen, even if Jesus Christ would come on the earth and ask people to follow him, there will be a bunch of people who will say, hang on, man, I still have my loans to pay. I cannot accompany you. And this is exactly what I'm also saying here. You are not rich according to how many things you control, but you are only rich according to how many things control you. Now, it's true that all of this can only be thought of and acted on by a person who has a certain level of income, certain level of money, a certain level of economic stability, let's say. That's true. But then there is the catch. There are so many people who meet that criteria, who have that economic stability, but are still not able to act on this kind of a realization. And that is primarily because even they feel that they are not there yet. We are so used to feeling discontented, we are so used to feeling incomplete, that it becomes almost a permanent part of ourselves, of how we identify ourselves. If you listen to this video and you felt that you cannot act free because you're not there yet, I want you to meditate deeper on it. More often than not, it is actually our ego. It is our ways of looking at life, of looking at other people's lives, of looking at happiness and peace, which makes us act as if we are bounded. And I think we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to our lives to meditate deeper on it and actually see if we can actually be more free. Because eventually, shiny clothes are good, but if they prevent you from playing, are they really worth it? Think deeper about it. My episode about discovering the purpose of your life would be appearing on your screen right now, and it's also appearing down below in the show notes. Make sure you check it out. Make sure you like this video if you haven't already. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share this video and my channel with your friends and family. I'll see you in the playground soon again. Until next time, peace out.